I think it was important to get to know her off the court because I do think that, connections, getting to know people really play a part in the success of.
Yes, you read correctly. Everyone anticipated Lexie Hull to go in and dominate the WNBA once she was selected 6th overall by the Indiana Fever in 2022.
This interview, you talked about struggling throughout the season. So what changed and how were you able to turn the page so that the end of the season went a lot?
Expectations were sky high for this player who helped lead Stanford to a national championship. But what did she do when she hit the league? The girl couldn't buy a break. And don't get me wrong, the Fever wasn't exactly on fire either. At one point, they were sitting at 18. There were definitely negative vibes everywhere.
You have basketball in your genes. Your grandfather played basketball, your dad, and you have a twin sister who you played basketball with growing up. What was it like growing up in that family dynamic?
Well, we have a super competitive family, and, having my dad play basketball collegiately, knew that basketball was going to be put in my hands at an early age, but my parents were, super excited about having us try every sport imaginable. So yeah, we grew up, my sister and I, playing.
Fans began to wonder if Lexie Hull was just another overhyped draft pick because she couldn't find her rhythm and wasn't playing as much as players like Christy Wallace or Tyel Samuelson. Now, being in the league is difficult, but being benched while the team is losing is like a unique kind of agony. But don't worry, guys. Caitlin Clark came in to save the day.
The clutch player by WNBA fans, and she was drafted to the W in 2022 with the Indiana Fever in the first round as the 6th pick. I'm talking about professional basketball player Lexie.
Clark blew it up in the best way possible. As soon as she walked in, you could literally feel the energy shift. The Fever went from being a hot mess to a new team with hope, and that hope, well, it wasn't just about her scoring points, though she's pretty good at that too. It was about giving the team a sense of purpose. I know it sounds like fairy tale stuff, but believe me when I say that this wasn't just a coincidence. The Fever didn't just get lucky. They didn't suddenly become good overnight. Instead, they began to trust Clark, and they bought into her leadership, and that's when the magic happened. You guessed it. Hull, Lexie.
The clutch player by WNBA fans, and she was drafted to the W in 2022 with the Indiana Fever in the first round as the 6th pick. I'm talking about professional basketball player Lexie.
Let's now discuss what actually transpired in this situation. I'm not being dramatic, but Caitlin Clark truly saved Hull's career by redefining it. Her on-court vision is like nothing anyone has ever seen, and the girl can make passes that make opponents appear as though they missed a magic trick. Suddenly, Hull, who had barely registered on anyone's radar, had an opportunity to do something on the court.
Beginning of the season, my playing time definitely looked different than it did at the end. So trusting that, I was staying ready, putting in the work so that when I did get the minutes out on the court, that I could take full advantage of them. So I was just really proud of myself for trusting the process and staying.
Clark saw promise in Hull where others would have seen someone suffering. Instead, she saw a player who only needed the proper push in the right direction, and guess what she gave it? It wasn't just about getting the ball. Hull's confidence was literally boosted when Clark began to encourage her and pull her up, saying things like, "You've got the next one, talk." Suddenly, Hull wasn't playing as though she was about to be forgotten. Rather, she was playing with a purpose and to win.
The basketball part of the transition is really tough. Everybody out on the court was one of the best players on their college teams, definitely the best player likely from their high school team. So it's just this mishmash of the best basketball players. And then you're playing against people that have been there for years.
And it was evident because Hull's efficiency skyrocketed after Clark arrived, as did her shooting percentages. Yes, those have improved. The girl who was having trouble settling and was suddenly connecting on shots, moving with purpose, and performing precisely what the Fever required of her. For a brief moment, the chemistry of the Fever completely changed when Caitlin Clark arrived. It wasn't just about XS and OS. It was about the confidence and leadership she brought to every practice and every game, and for Hull, that was exactly what she needed. Without Clark's guidance, perhaps Hull's career would have been one of those what-if stories, but with her, Hull's career was saved, and suddenly the Fever weren't just a disaster. They were looking at a promising future.
Now it's like, okay, every cut I have, every cut I make, every fast break I run, I have a real opportunity to get the ball, which definitely took me a second. And I think it really just took one of those to really get my head around oh, she's all the way down at the other end of the floor and she could still make the pass to me down at the block at this end. So It's
Fans had written her off, but with Clark on the scene, Hull began to feel like she truly belonged in the WNBA. She wasn't just a hopeful rookie anymore. She was a competitor, and trust me, that shift in mindset was a game changer. Clark didn't just come in and hit a few shots, though, because she had a bigger impact than that. The team practices became intense, players started holding each other accountable, and everyone was suddenly in it for each other, fighting to win.
we're just like sick that we had lost so many games, and also feeling like we were better than that.
The Fever were suddenly a team that played with purpose. The chemistry clicked, and those sold-out arenas were definitely not a coincidence either. As the Fever improved, the fans noticed and began packing the stands as if it were a playoff game. But let's not forget that players like Lexie Hull really stepped up. Hull's role changed from waiting for a chance to scoring again to actually making things happen. Her shooting percentages, which had been inconsistent, began to increase, and this wasn't only about making sporadic shots. H began making important shots, which is a sign that a player is improving.
The game at a bigger scale, obviously with the platform that she's created for herself, and then that's transitioned to the game. It's huge. And I think, like, for me, especially as a point guard and as someone that's delivering a lot of the passes that lead to shots, like, if I miss, she's definitely going to say, like, you got the next one. Like, I can count on her for keeping me, like, confident and positive. So yeah, I think that shows the...
Let's now examine Hull's own tale of redemption. This wasn't just luck or wishful thinking. She worked extremely hard. In fact, the Olympic break was huge for her, and it wasn't just because she had some time off. The Fever used that month to concentrate on skill development, which for Hull meant shooting drills. The team tracked shooting percentages daily, and Hull's numbers began to slowly, but surely improve. She was working hard, and by the second half of the season, those results weren't just on paper. They were real. Hull wasn't just a supporting player. She was becoming a vital part of the Fever's success. Hull wasn't just getting better, she was thriving. And let's not even talk about the statistics. The girl was making shots when it counted, and those shooting percentages went up significantly. Her 2-point and 3-point shots also started to click. You could see it in every game.
Indiana Fever had a history-making year. What was that like for you to be a part of that?
Really grateful for the opportunity to not only play in the WNBA, but to be on a team like the Indiana Fever. I've seen so much growth, not only on the team side, how we're performing on the court, but also the growth in fans.
What's the bottom line here? The Fever's transformation from 1-8 to playoff contenders was one of the most impressive things we've seen this season. They didn't just improve their record, they completely changed their culture, going from a team that no one took seriously to one that other teams feared. Caitlin Clark is largely responsible for this change. She didn't just help the Fever win games, she gave them hope that they could win. Lexie Hull's story is a prime example of how leadership, and you don't see comeback stories like this very often. And with players like Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston spearheading the charge, the Fever are undoubtedly a team to watch.
I think one thing that our coaches did during that break, I mean, we had a full month of practice pretty much during the Olympic break, and they would put up every day after practice our shooting percentages from 2s and 3s during drills, during scrimmages, during everything. And I think that helped me because, some people were probably like, it's so annoying, whatever, but I personally...
However, don't take it at face value. Fans are also noticing that the Fever isn't just filling seats, they're selling out arenas. This kind of support isn't something that just happens. It's something that this team has earned, and given their current trajectory, we're just getting started. Keep an eye on the WNBA because the Fever isn't just back, they're here to stay. Caitlin Clark did more than simply save Lexie Hull's career. She changed it. Now, Hull is settling in, contributing, and demonstrating to her supporters why she was previously regarded as one of the finest in college. Let's face it, through her leadership, Clark has demonstrated to us that sometimes all it takes to turn things around is a little faith and collaboration, and that's precisely what Caitlin Clark offered Lexie Hull an opportunity to do.